My wife and I married when we were both 21. Neither of us knew what career path we wanted, but we were in love. Even after 30 years of marriage, we were inseparable. I never thought my wife's girls' night out would change everything. We made it through everything life threw at us together, the good times, the bad times, and everything in between. But nothing could prepare me for what happened one night. It was the night she went out with her girlfriends. I trusted her. I thought she stayed faithful, even if she was going to spend part of the night away from me. As time went on, we had two kids. My wife became a pharmacy technician, and I became an auto mechanic. We had a good life. Despite the occasional argument, our marriage was strong. It was strong as ever until that fateful night out. My wife was a typical soccer mom. She took the kids to their soccer games when I wasn't able to. She was always supportive of our family. We never had a dead bedroom. Intimacy was never ever a problem. I thought my wife was the most loyal woman alive. She was never out of place. Most of the time when she wasn't at work, she was with the kids. But she did participate in the occasional girls' night out. I didn't care because of how busy she was with the kids. She was always taking care of the family. Now the kids are older and on their own. We have two boys, both born within 2 years of each other. They moved out a couple of months ago. We got them an apartment and they both have jobs. That's really when I saw my wife's behavior shift. At first, I thought nothing of it. She went out with her girlfriends more often, but I didn't think much of it. I knew the stress of being an empty nester was real, and occasionally she just wanted to let off some steam. Sometimes she would call me while I was at work. She wouldn't text, but call me. She would tell me she was going to the gym or going out with her girlfriends. I didn't think anything of it. I trusted her, but one night she came home late. She had never come home this late, and when she finally came home, it was after 3 a.m. I confronted her right away. Her response was that they got carried away with the time, and she apologized, and I thought her apology was genuine. So fast forward a few weeks, one of our sons called me. He said his mom was supposed to come pick him up. She was supposed to take him to get his car. He had some work done on it. I asked my son, "Did you call your mother?" He said to me, "I called and sent her a few text messages." I found that odd. Every time my wife had to take my son somewhere, she was there. If I couldn't take them, my sons had one car. It was an older car that had some issues. It was drivable, but had issues from time to time. They could have used an Uber, but that would be expensive for them to use all the time. But her absence this time was concerning. She didn't return my son's call or text messages, and she didn't return my calls or text messages. So I left work and went to pick up my son. I took him to get his car. Then I followed him to make sure he got home. When I was done, my wife called. She gave me an excuse. She said she was going to another store. She was covering for another pharmacy technician. I said, "Why didn't you just call us and tell us?" I told her our son and I called you. You didn't return any of our calls or text messages. I basically let her have it. She apologized and said she must have spaced it out right then and there. I asked if everything was okay with her. She said nothing was wrong, but I knew something was off about her ever since the boys left. She was a tad bit different. I decided to pay more attention. So as time went on, she started to hang out with her girlfriends more and more. I didn't say anything. I just kept observing, and she was coming home later and later. And that's when I started planning some financial moves. One night, I checked our bank account and saw a charge for a hotel. When I asked her about it, you know what she told me? She said one of her girlfriends didn't have money for a hotel, so she loaned her the money. I asked who this girlfriend was, but she wouldn't tell me. But I knew all of her girlfriends were married, or at least that's what I was told a few years ago. So the next day, My gut was telling me to start moving money around, and that's what I did. I opened up two more bank accounts, a savings and a checking. I moved my direct deposit to the new checking. One night while she was asleep, I put a GPS tracker on her car, and I monitored it from there. For the first week, she was where she said she was supposed to be. Then one night, she said she was going to hang out with the girls. She even told me where she was going to be. So, with that said, when she left, I told her to have a good time, and I told her I was going to watch a movie and probably go to bed. About an hour goes by. I get in my car and travel to where the GPS tracker said she would be. Lo and behold, I see her car outside the bar. She said she was going to be there, but she didn't stay at the bar. She ended up going to another bar about 15 minutes away. I followed her to the bar and saw her get out of her car and walk in. So, I parked my car around the corner and watched from a distance. Then, that's when it happened. I saw my wife come out of the bar, holding hands with a guy. That's when I took out my phone and started recording. And then they got to his car and started kissing. My phone was still recording. They got into his car and went to a hotel 5 minutes away. I waited for them to get out. They walked up to the hotel hand in hand and kissing. And I have all of this recorded on my phone. And this was about 11 p.m. After I saw them walk in, I went back home, tired and exhausted. I managed to pack some things up and put them into my car. I wasn't leaving just yet. I didn't want her to know anything, not until I wanted her to. I wasn't going to tell my sons yet either. I wanted to make sure I had all the evidence I needed. Then I would tell them of their mother's betrayal. So my wife came strolling in about 4 a.m. Yup, 4 in the morning. I was asleep. I heard her walk into the bedroom and I went right back to sleep. Later in the morning, I got up and went to work. I didn't say anything to my wife. I made an appointment to talk to an attorney later that day. I called my brother to see if I could crash at his place for a while, and of course, he asked why. I sent him the video clips from my phone. I could hear the sadness in his voice when he called me back. He had received the clips, so we both came up with a plan. We would move most of my things while she was at work. Then we would inform the boys only after the divorce. After leaving work, I met with an attorney. I found out that here in North Carolina, adultery is a crime. It's a Class 2 misdemeanor, to be exact. I didn't know that. My attorney told me my wife may not be eligible for alimony, but it was entirely up to the judge. I told my attorney to go ahead and file for divorce. We filed on the grounds of adultery. That night, my brother came over while my wife was still at work. We packed up most of my things. We planned to take them over to his place. I didn't expect my wife to come home until after 7 p.m., so I had time to get quite a few things ready. My brother finally took some of my things to his place. That was about 7:30-ish. My wife came home and asked me how my day was. I told her it was busy and productive. To my surprise, she wasn't going anywhere that evening. She asked me, did I want to watch a movie with her? I said, sure, and we did. The next morning, she left before me. That was my opportunity to go. I took the rest of my things. I made a nice note for the soon-to-be ex-wife. I prepared a USB stick for her viewing pleasure. So, while I was at my brother's place, she never once reached out. Never. So, I assumed she viewed the USB drive with the video evidence. After a couple of days, I got an answer from a lawyer. She wasn't contesting anything. We would have a hearing within a few weeks. She was asking for the house, and I was contesting that. My lawyer went back to her lawyer. He said we would split it at the divorce hearing. It was quick and painless. My boys were there, and it was really heartbreaking for them. And I never showed them the video. I didn't have to pay any alimony, and I did not lose any part of my retirement. But we had to sell the house to split the equity. We ended up selling the house 3 months later. I keep in touch with my boys almost daily. They both have told me they haven't talked to their mother, not since the divorce, which is approaching 4 months. I have since acquired my own place. I know people will say, why not reconcile? But I am 52 years old, and I am not trying to reconcile with this woman. She lies about girls' night and comes home to me. I am not going to waste any more years in this marriage. I can't go back to that. I would never be able to trust her. Thank you, Tony, for sharing my story. I really appreciate it.